Welcome to Property Report UK, the channel that brings you the real story behind Britain's housing market, not just the headlines. If you're a homeowner, a first-time buyer, or even a renter trying to understand where things are heading, what we're about to uncover could change how you see the UK property market entirely. Because over the next 18 months, nearly 1 million homeowners across the country are going to receive a letter that could force them to sell their homes. And the shocking part, most of them still think everything's fine. This isn't just a market slowdown, it's a complete restructuring of who gets to own property in Britain. By the end of this report, you'll know exactly which side of that divide you're on and what you can do about it. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't want to admit: the UK property market has effectively split in two. In the north cities like Newcastle, Leeds, and Manchester, the housing market is buzzing with activity. Homes are going under offer in less than a week. Buyers are bidding against each other. In some postcodes, prices have risen nearly 8% in the last year alone. Meanwhile, in London and across the southeast, it's a very different picture. Sellers are cutting prices month after month. Listings sit untouched for weeks on Rightmove. And when offers finally come in, they're often tens of thousands below the asking price. A 3-bedroom home in Newcastle might cost around £180,000, while the same property in outer London still demands £450,000 or more. That's a massive price gap, and it's forcing many buyers to make a fundamental decision: stay in the south and struggle, or move north and actually live. This isn't about lifestyle anymore. It's about math, and the math doesn't lie. Now here's where things turn serious. Between now and the end of 2027, roughly 800,000 homeowners are coming to the end of their fixed-rate mortgage deals. Most of these people locked in rates between 2% and 3% during the ultra-low interest era. Today, they're facing remortgage offers at 5% or more, sometimes even higher. Let's break that down in real numbers. If you borrowed £250,000 at 2%, your monthly payment was about £1,120. At 5%, that same loan jumps to £1,460, an extra £340 every month, or over £4,000 a year. If you slip onto your lender's variable rate, say 7%, you're suddenly paying £1,750 a month. That's £7,500 more every single year, just because your fixed deal expired. For households already struggling with rising energy bills, groceries, and fuel costs, this isn't just uncomfortable, it's unsustainable. And this is exactly why we're seeing more for sale signs across the UK. These aren't people choosing to move, they're being forced to. There's also a clear generational split happening beneath the surface. If you're over 65, there's a 61% chance you own your home outright, no mortgage, no stress. But if you're under 45, you're probably carrying heavy mortgage debt, and you're the one feeling every rate rise like a punch to the stomach. Younger homeowners are bearing the brunt of this crisis, while older generations watch property values from the sidelines, unaffected. It's not about blame, it's about timing. Those who bought in the 1980s and 90s benefited from low prices and decades of growth. Those buying now face record high prices and mortgage rates that double the cost of ownership compared to just a few years ago. And it's not just homeowners under pressure, landlords are leaving the market in droves. Last year, nearly 1 in 5 landlords sold properties, while only 8% bought new ones. Surveys now show that 41% of landlords are planning to reduce their portfolios or exit entirely within the next few years. Why? Simple economics. Mortgage rates for landlords have doubled too, but they can't pass all those costs on to tenants because rents are already at breaking point. Then come the new regulations. The Renters Reform Bill, for instance, removes Section 21, meaning landlords can no longer evict tenants without a clear legal reason. That's great news for renters' security, but for many landlords, it introduces risk, legal cost, and uncertainty. Add in new tax changes like the April 2025 removal of holiday-let benefits, and suddenly, the numbers just don't work anymore. Many landlords are cashing out. And the result? Rental supply is shrinking, rents are rising, and former rental homes are flooding the sales market, often snapped up by first-time buyers. It's a strange paradox: renters pay more, while house prices in some regions start to soften. But amid the chaos, there's opportunity, and the smartest investors are already taking notice. While nearly half of landlords are selling, professional investors, the ones who truly understand the numbers, are stepping in. In early 2025, buy-to-let mortgage applications surged by 32%, especially across the North and Midlands. Why? Because the returns actually make sense there. Take Liverpool, for example, a two-bedroom flat for under £120,000 renting for around £800 a month. That's a yield close to 8% before costs. Compare that to London, where a £400,000 flat might rent for £1,800, barely a 5% gross yield. For smart investors, it's simple: the North is where the math still works. For first-time buyers, there's finally a window of opportunity opening. With transaction volumes down 28% year-on-year, sellers are getting realistic, and many are accepting lower offers. Homes that were listed at £300,000 6 months ago are now quietly reduced to £280,000 or less. If you've saved a solid deposit and can secure a mortgage, this might be your best chance in years to negotiate. Patience and research are everything right now. But there's a catch: the Help to Buy aftermath is haunting thousands. Buyers who purchased new builds through the government scheme are discovering their homes are now worth less than what they paid. Developers inflated prices by 10–15% because they knew buyers were locked into the scheme. Now, as those buyers try to remortgage, they're trapped in negative equity. It's a brutal reminder: new doesn't always mean better value. Another major issue right now is confidence, or rather, the lack of it. There have been months recently where property transactions fell by over 60% compared to the same period last year. That's not a slowdown, that's paralysis. Buyers fear overpaying, sellers refuse to cut prices. So, everyone's waiting for everyone else to move first. This creates a bizarre illusion: prices appear stable on paper, but that's only because hardly any sales are happening to move the averages. Underneath, pressure is building like a spring being wound tighter and tighter. So, where does the market go from here? Most analysts predict modest growth in 2025, around 1% nationally. But over the next 5 years, Savills forecasts total growth of about 24%, though not evenly spread. London and the South may rise by 15–18%, while parts of the North could surge by over 30%. Why? Because wage growth and gradual interest rate reductions will slowly bring confidence back. The Bank of England is expected to cut rates back toward 4–4.5% in the coming years, with mortgage rates around 5% becoming the new normal. That's still higher than the pandemic lows, but manageable. As confidence returns, more transactions will follow, and with them, price stability. If you're a homeowner on a soon-to-expire fixed rate, don't wait. Speak to a mortgage broker months before your deal ends, not weeks. Explore your options early, and if your numbers don't stack up, consider selling before you're forced to. If you're a renter considering buying, run the actual numbers for your situation. Don't buy because you feel pressured, buy because it makes sense. And if you're a landlord, decide whether you're in this business for the long term or not. The days of easy property profits are over. But if your properties are solid, in good locations, and cash flow positive even at higher rates, this storm will pass and you'll come out stronger. For investors, this is a rare moment to find value. With motivated sellers and nervous markets, you can negotiate deals that simply weren't possible 2 years ago. Focus on fundamentals: employment hubs, universities, and transport links, the lifeblood of long-term demand. What we're witnessing is the biggest shift in UK property ownership in decades. Older generations who bought when homes were affordable now hold most of the housing wealth. Younger generations face higher barriers than ever. That's leading to one of the greatest wealth transfers in modern British history, from those trying to buy to those who already own. The cheap money era is over. The next era will reward those who understand value, not hype, and who can spot opportunity in uncertainty. The UK property market isn't collapsing, it's reshaping itself. And how you respond will define whether you thrive or just survive in the years ahead. If this breakdown helped you see the housing market more clearly, make sure you're subscribed to Property Report UK, where we cut through the noise and bring you the facts that really matter. Hit the like button, share this video with someone following the market, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive into what's really happening in UK property. This has been Property Report UK, your trusted source for insight, context, and clarity on the British housing market. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next report.